Chloe spilled her latte again. It wasn't a normal spill, mind you. It was a geyser of foamy, caramel-infused liquid that managed to coat not only her favorite lavender sweater, but also the exquisitely tailored suit of the broodingly handsome man standing in front of her. "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry," Chloe stammered, grabbing a handful of napkins from the dispenser. "I'm such a klutz." He sighed, a sound that rumbled in his chest like distant thunder. "It's fine," he said, his voice deep and just a touch exasperated. "Just fine." He looked down at the sticky mess adorning his impeccable navy suit. This was how Chloe met Jonathan. He was everything she wasn't, meticulously organized, impeccably dressed, and seemingly devoid of even a drop of klutziness. She was a baker, a whirlwind of flour and frosting, living in a world permanently dusted with powdered sugar. He was a lawyer, sharp and precise, living in a world ruled by precedents and contracts. Despite their differences, fate, or perhaps just Chloe's uncanny ability to create chaos wherever she went, kept throwing them together. She managed to accidentally lock him in the bakery's walk-in freezer. Turns out the magnet was stronger than she thought. He rescued her from a disastrous first date with a guy whose dating profile conveniently forgot to mention his fondness for competitive eating. They bonded over their mutual love of bad reality TV and their shared hatred of pigeons. Slowly, surely, Chloe and Jonathan fell for each other. He found her chaotic energy refreshing, a welcome contrast to the sterile world of law. She found his groundedness comforting, a safe harbor in her ever-stormy sea. They navigated the usual rom-com hurdles, awkward introductions to friends, a disastrous double date, the age-old "are we exclusive?" conversation. Jonathan even surprised Chloe with a handwritten love letter, a gesture so old-fashioned and romantic that it brought tears to her eyes. 6 months in, Jonathan surprised Chloe again. This time with a proposal in her flour-dusted kitchen, surrounded by the sweet smell of baking bread. He got down on one knee, presented a stunning antique diamond ring, and confessed his undying love. Chloe, speechless with joy, could only nod, tears streaming down her face. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The wedding planning was a whirlwind. Jonathan surprisingly deferred to Chloe on most decisions, trusting her artistic vision. The venue was a rustic barn adorned with fairy lights and overflowing with wildflowers. The cake, a masterpiece of buttercream and edible flowers, was Chloe's own creation. Standing at the altar, radiant in her simple, elegant gown, Chloe waited for her groom. The music swelled, and the doors opened. Jonathan emerged, looking devastatingly handsome in his perfectly tailored suit. But as he walked down the aisle, Chloe noticed something odd. He wasn't looking at her. He was looking at her best friend Amelia, who was standing in the front row. He stopped in front of Amelia, took her hand, and turned to face the stunned guests. "I have an announcement to make," Jonathan said, his voice clear and unwavering. "I love Chloe dearly, but I can't marry her." The silence was deafening. Chloe felt the ground crumble beneath her feet. "The truth is," Jonathan continued, turning to Amelia, "I'm in love with Amelia. We've been seeing each other for months." A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Chloe felt a wave of nausea. Amelia, her best friend, was looking down, shamefaced. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Jonathan said, his voice cracking. "But we couldn't deny our feelings any longer. I'm so sorry, Chloe. I truly am." And then, the twist. Chloe took a deep breath, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Oh, Jonathan," she said, her voice surprisingly calm. "You really are awful at this." She stepped forward and took Amelia's other hand. "Let's just get this over with, shall we? 3-way weddings are all the rage these days." Jonathan looked utterly bewildered. The audience was in a state of stunned silence, broken only by the occasional cough. Chloe turned to the crowd, still holding both Jonathan's and Amelia's hands. "Surprise! Jonathan and Amelia aren't having an affair. We're all polyamorous," she announced. "Jonathan and I are still getting married, but so are Amelia and I. We decided to keep it a secret for the big reveal. You should see the look on your faces." The silence finally broke, replaced by a mixture of laughter, gasps, and murmurs of disbelief. Chloe, Amelia, and a still-stunned Jonathan exchanged relieved smiles. The wedding, after a brief period of chaos and confusion, proceeded. Chloe married Jonathan, then she turned and married Amelia. It was unconventional, unexpected, and utterly Chloe. The guests eventually recovered from their shock and embraced the unique celebration. They danced the night away, toasted the happy trio, and marveled at the twist they never saw coming. Chloe had spilled her latte, caused chaos at every turn, and managed to pull off the most unexpected rom-com twist of all, a three-way wedding fueled by love, laughter, and a whole lot of powdered sugar. And in the end, that's all that really mattered. She had found her happily ever after, or rather her happily ever afters.